Good evening. This is the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for March 7th, 2019. I'll call the meeting to order. It's 7:14. First on the agenda is I need a motion to have Hugh Cushion made as a voting member. Second. Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Second is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call.
Hugh Cushing.
William LePage.
George Slingo.
Roberto Cini.
Okay. First on the docket is continuation of the public hearing for Christopher and Deborah Cini.
Good evening. I'm Ivy Nguyen. I represent Christopher and Deborah Cini. The hearing went forward last month and we continued to today. I submitted additional materials. I'm not sure if all the members have received that.
I believe all the members have read it.
Great. I'm here, happy to answer any further questions that the members may have.
Do you have any questions? Any questions from the board? No questions from the board?
Just going to read it again real quick.
Are there any questions from any abutters? Okay. Just 1 minute.
No questions.
All right. So, hearing no questions from the board or any neighbors or butters, I will close the public hearing. It's 7:17. Anybody would like to make a motion, or?
I'll make a motion we close. Second.
Okay, a motion's been made and second to close the public hearing at 7:17. Want to move on to the next one, or you want to talk about this?
Is it unanimous?
Huh?
Unanimous?
Yes. I'm going to do the next one. Nobody wants it.
Yeah.
Next one on the public hearing is for Mr. Pettit. Public hearing for Pettit Development, Inc. Applicant is seeking a special permit to obtain 2 building permits in addition to 2 storage units. We will debate on this as soon as I get rid of the, as soon as we go through the rest of the document.
Thanks. Thank you, sir.
I didn't mean to get rid of it.
Well, thank you for everybody coming to the meeting tonight. Would you like me to just present what we're proposing?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
First, a little brief history. I am Wesley Pettit, Eric Way, Dudley. And the property that I'm proposing expanding on, I purchased about 19 years ago. And it was zoned Business 15 at that time. but the use was industrial. It was the last use before I purchased it was as a machine shop. and it had a very run-down building and a beat-up parking lot. I had confidence in Schofield Ave and in that southern part of Dudley. I purchased it, put in self-storage buildings, and repaired the old wood frame building that was there. And everything's worked out well for 19 years with no incidences. So now what I'm proposing, the building really is tired. I'm proposing taking down the old building, which has a 14-foot eave, and replacing that building with one typical self-storage building with a 9-foot eave. And then behind that, as will be shown on the plans, is a second self-storage building. In addition to that, what the other changes that we're going to make, which are improvements to the area, is the old wood frame building is awfully close to one of my neighbor's lot lines, the St. Marie's lot line. It's 28 feet from their property line. I'm proposing that the new building would 68 feet from the lot line, as you can see in the plans. So in all areas, I'm going to be well within the buffer zones required. And in addition, even though the property was zoned business when I purchased it, it was changed to residential zoning more recently. So I'm meeting the coverage requirements of a residential zone, which is 20% of the total land area, instead of asking for the 30% coverage, which would have been my right if it had remained business. So I think we're going to do a lot to improve it. I still have confidence in that end of the town, even though the old mill is empty. We hope to see something happening there. Self-storage is something I'm very experienced with. I have other facilities, and I've helped other people develop many more facilities. It often works as a very good buffer between residential and industrial zones. And frankly, I think mine has, and that's kind of proven in the fact that there's been no complaints or instances in 19 years. I'd also like to point out that I am pretty much one of the neighbors. I'm right on the other side of Packard Pond in the Perryville Farms development. So I can actually see my buildings from my back porch as well. So we, again, we've got the buffer zones covered. We have we're meeting the requirements of residential total coverage of land mass. And I'm proposing a smaller eave building, 9 feet, instead of the 14-foot building that will come down. So I think it'll be a good improvement for the area. And I guess I'm ready for any questions. Put a set of plans out for anybody who want to look at it.
Yes. Are there any abutters? All right. Seeing that there's no abutters, I will close this public hearing at 7:23. Someone like to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the special permit for the addition of 2 new storage buildings in place of the existing building.
Second.
Okay, a motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Should we tell them what to expect? Should we tell them what to expect?
Yes.
There's going to be a 20-day waiting period, so I will file that paperwork with the town clerk, and I will send you a letter to let you know when you can pick up the no appeal letters from the town clerk.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, should I send that letter to the engineering firm?
If you have my address, you can send it to me.
Is this your address?
8 Eric Way.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And it's, should be letting people know it's 20 days from when it's recorded, not from tonight, yeah.
Okay, next is a public hearing for Guyan. I'm gonna really butcher this name.
Renucci.
Renucci?
Okay,
G.R. Renucci.
Gian.
Gian Renucci, okay.
Okay, I'll open this meeting at 7:25. What are you planning on doing?
We plan on turning the piece of property that we just bought in February into a potential petting zoo, haunted hayride, wedding venue, ceremony and reception. We're just trying to turn it back into the farm that it once was. We want to generate some money off of the land, and that's pretty much it.
Okay. You don't have any plans for parking or any of that right now?
We do have rough plans, but there's something that we drew out, and she said that wouldn't be accepted. So I'm waiting on a surveyor to come out and tell us exactly where we'll put a parking lot and where these things, because I know they have to be 100 feet from wetlands, and we do have a couple pieces of the property that are wetlands.
Okay. All right, so you don't have an approved plan, a plan right at this moment?
So we have
No.
a front pasture that's, it's like 4 acres
Yeah, I'd say
in
it's
the front
4 acres.
pasture. So we wanted to split it in half and do the flower field in the front and the petting zoo right behind it. So we would pretty much just use like the front section of our driveway. And we wanted to put the parking spaces like right next to it, so you would pretty much just like pull up and pull in. But obviously, we need to be like finalized on that.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we want to make sure that we don't block the driveway, because it is a shared path with our neighbor Sam. So we need to make sure that there'll be no, interruption with her being able to get in or out at any time. So if the driveway needs to be on the other side of the property, closer to, there's a field there that a gentleman owns,
It's a vacant lot.
Yeah, it's a
It's like right
vacant
in
lot.
between us and our neighbors, so we could also do the parking lot on that
on
side.
that side, just so it stays away from her, her entry. Because we really don't want to upset any neighbors, especially one that has to drive by this every day.
All right, so basically you want to continue this meeting until you have the survey, we have a set of plans that we can actually look at.
Yeah, I didn't think that a surveyor, I didn't think I wouldn't be able to find one by this time. It's been very tricky.
All right. Continue with
April 4th.
April 4th, is that acceptable to you?
Yes, it is.
All right. Make a motion?
Gonna close or continue?
No, gonna continue them.
Yeah. Make a motion that we continue the meeting to April 4th to give the applicant time to obtain a survey plot plan.
Second.
Okay, a motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh,
George, can you ask questions now, or do you have to wait for the next?
first of all, let's see what they, I haven't seen a set of plans, you haven't seen a set of plans. It doesn't make sense to talk about something that his engineer might change everything that we talk about. So, we can have conjecture all day long, but until we have it down in writing, it doesn't make sense to, unless you have some valid concerns that, that he might, that would be beneficial to him, that would probably be work out
I'll
great.
just come back to the next meeting. It's okay.
All right.
What is it, non-conforming use? What's the variance from what?
Special permit,
Special permit.
right. No, they're just curious. I wouldn't say that they're against it.
You just want to know what's going on.
Yeah. All right. Cindy would like to please come back up.
Sini.
Seedy, I'm sorry.
Genie, especially.
Jeannie?
Genie. It's Italian.
1 second.
Okay. Where's the...
This is just what she brought in, right? Oh, this is.
All right, we've talked to town council on this, and they suggested that we deny the applicant.
On what basis?
Is that right there?
George, do you want?
Raising of chickens on the property is not in harmony with the general purpose of the bylaw, and that raising the chickens does not comply with the general and specific provisions of the bylaw. Specifically, the board found that the roosters disturbs the neighborhood.
That rooster is an emotional support rooster. I want that noted in the record immediately. Thank you.
Thank you. Did the board consider that there are other roosters in the neighborhood that belong to other residents?
We got your,
So it's supplemental letter.
yep, and we're aware of the other ones, and we have asked the zoning enforcement agent to go over there and issue
Cease and desist.
findings on those.
You've asked the zoning person to harass the neighbors. I have been harassed by the zoning person. These are my children. These are my emotional support animals. I am a paramedic of 22 years service to this state. I deserve further respect than to be told that I am just a person with a problem. I have served this state with dignity, sir.
I'm not arguing that point.
You are
think
arguing
anybody-
that point
I don't
as
think
an
anybody
emotional
here-
support
I don't think-
animal.
I don't think anybody here is arguing with you.
But I need you to stop. I need for you to stop.
Yes, ma'am.
Why don't you go sit with Chris?
I prefer not to move because I'm clenching my toes.
Thank you. Did the board consider that these chickens are emotional support animals? And that a reasonable accommodation should be made for them, and that allowing them to be kept on the property according to the bylaws requirements of 50 feet away, or 50 yards away from lot lines is a reasonable accommodation under the law?
Yes, we did consider that, but they also have to make, be considerate of the neighbors if the noise value. And I understand what you're saying with that it's not his rooster, it's not their rooster, it's somebody else's roosters. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna sit there and find out what rooster is crowing when.
But-
I don't believe that's this board's.
That is your job, sir, under
No,
zoning bylaw.
it is not my job.
Yes, I know your job, sir.
It's not my job.
For you to stop.
My job is not to sit at that street.
Understood, understood. What about the 7 chickens that are not the rooster? If the board is finding that the rooster is unreasonable because of the noise, but the chickens themselves are not noisy, then is the finding different for the 7 chickens?
At this point, I believe that you could appeal the decision, but I believe that the board is going to deny it all because we don't want to be put in the middle of it. We're going to go after the neighbors too to make sure their chickens are gone.
So, just for me to understand sort of, and for us to have a clear record, the finding is the request for a special permit is denied because of the noise, unreasonable noise caused by the rooster, and lumped together are the other 7 chickens.
Correct.
For the same reason?
Yeah.
Okay,
Because it doesn't meet the zoning bylaw.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, somebody want to make that in a motion?
Your zoning bylaw is a joke for a supposed farm-owning town. That's what you stated in your 2016 zoning bylaw, that this was a farm town.
It is.
You violated that. I hope you fucking pay for it.
Nice. That's nice.
I'm sorry, sir.
Motion to deny.
No, I'm sorry. Cameras don't see it, honey. Bye.
All right.
She took that well.
I'd like to make a motion that we deny the special permit to house emotional support chickens at 63 Eagle Drive in Dudley, based on town council's decision. Namely, that the raising of chickens on the property is not in harmony with the general purpose of the bylaw, and the raising of chickens on the property does not comply with the general and specific provisions of the bylaw. Specifically, the board found that the rooster disturbs the neighborhood.
No seconds.
Okay, motions have been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And we'll also, what do we do to have the zoning officer? Do we have to do anything
No?
to add to this?
Once it's denied?
No, as far as him going to check the other house.
Okay,
You have
answer
to
that?
go to the other property.
Not right now. You wanna make it way up, open for public yet?
You have,
We have
Could you explain 48, Section 3,
Who is this?
Massachusetts State Journal, David Durgan,
well,
68
first of
Eagle
all,
Drive?
we can't have a public hearing until it's
It's not a-
public. Has to be notified in the mail
Right.
for 2 weeks.
So you open this to the public, right?
Excuse me?
This is open to the public, right?
Yep.
So what I already got my cease and desist letter.
Want me to answer his question?
Who is this?
Here's where we stand now.
Point of order.
Yes, sir.
May we have him state his name?
Dave Durgan, 68 Eagle Drive.
What is it?
David Durgan, 68
Durgan,
Eagle
okay.
Drive.
Here's where we stand now. You know, there's a process. This process is if you want to have chickens in your area, you know, there's different ways to do it. One is you go to the ZBA, yes, ask for a special permit, that this lady did, you explain yourself, you see whether you get it or you don't get it. The other one, that section, that 3,
48, Section 3.
right, you have to take and show that you make so much money. You showed it to me. I denied it. I didn't believe it was legit.
Okay, why?
You can, if you can prove it's legit, it will change things. Until then, you haven't proved
We
it.
have proved it's legit.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, who are you?
Say that
Your
again.
name?
This is Nelson.
Oh, Nelson, I'm sorry, I've only read his
I'm
harassing
the
letters.
zoning officer, Nelson. Brown.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's been harassing.
Harassing, I didn't realize it was him.
You please
Well,
state your name.
My name is Anna Durgan. Hi, we had spoken to, who was
Yep.
it, Greg
Greg Balagonis.
Balagonis, and he accepted our check, and we were informed that that was enough proof for us to continue using this law. He had told us that verbally, that we had fulfilled the requirements.
That you've met the requirements?
Yes, that's what he had told us verbally, that we have
2
met the
acres of land
requirements.
and
We have-
make over
Let-
$1,000 per acre.
Let me say this, I'm the zoning officer.
Did you talk to him?
I have the authority to either accept it or not accept it, and I'm saying right here on TV, I'm not accepting it. You need to show us the chickens, because if I use common sense, how many chickens do you have?
We have 7.
7 chickens. And out of 7 chickens, you had gave us something that you had made $2,800.
That is
and-
correct.
and Break
We
it,
are-
break it down to what you had sent me, so.
How we make our money is not under investigation.
Yes, we are allowed to sell our eggs to whoever we would like them to
But
under
I'm
the law.
asking you to explain to the board what you wrote to me as far as your breakdown on how you made your money.
Breakdown?
Yes,
we
you
made-
sent the piece of paper that
Yes.
said.
$2,880 for chicken eggs and $200 for chicken manure.
How many
Say that
chickens
one
do you
more
have?
time.
Chicken manure, selling chicken
7.
manure to farmers.
You have 7 chickens?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, if they're willing to pay that much, hey.
So I just need receipts that show that the people paid
We've
it.
given
By
you a
state law,
receipt,
you
sir.
don't.
Say that again.
Given you a receipt.
Speak from my voice.
We have given you a receipt.
Your receipt had no heading, no anything. Anyone could take a blank piece of paper and write anything they want on it. And you need to do better. It's just not enough for me.
And so
If
you want our
if-
income
If you
taxes?
feel I'm wrong, you can hire a lawyer, you can appeal it, you can
We
do
can.
whatever you want to do. I'm not accepting it.
Can I ask you why you wanted my income taxes in January? Why are we looking, why are you asking us for our personal information?
I'm not asking for anything
we
other
have-
than proof that you're selling your eggs
You wanna get
to
that
meet the
document?
requirement of 40A, Section 3. That's
Can I
what
give
I'm
you guys a
asking for.
copy of what he actually asked for us in
Did
January?
you guys get my email, by the way?
No. Here, let me get the letter that shows that he's
Have you,
asked.
have you applied to the
Mr. Chairman.
zoning board?
They haven't
All
applied
the
for anything.
information.
So why are we having this
Did we
meeting?
have a letter from you guys initially?
Did you apply to the zoning board to appeal his decision? Yeah, okay, well, that's what you need to do. Thank you.
I'm sorry, you didn't answer my question about my personal income taxes. Wait,
I need information that shows that you meet 40A, Section 3. What you have gave me is not enough, and that's
But-
all I'm looking for.
so
No one said personal taxes.
you did,
except
in my
maybe
paperwork
yourself.
that you signed, that you sent me a
Yeah,
letter, you
a
asked me for my
certified
personal
letter.
income taxes,
It
sir.
says you need some type of
In 2018,
information.
you asked for
You
them.
need some type of information that supports what you're saying.
I understand that, but I'm asking you a direct question. You asked us to
January
provide
9th.
our income taxes, so I'd like to know why.
2018. You asked for a copy of our tax statements, our copy of our receipts, and then you asked me for my business certificate.
Comma means one, the other, or the other. It's your choice. You don't have to be specific. Whatever you feel comfortable with to issue to me, to convince me that you fall under that, is what you need to do. You do it, and you will be successful. If you do not do it, you will not be
So I'm
successful.
better
So
than
far,
the
you haven't done it,
president.
and you're not successful. That's my answer.
So I'm better, I guess we're above the
best-
president asking for
So,
taxes.
like the zoning officer said, there's a process to follow.
Uh-huh.
So if you want to appeal his
There's
a
decision,
law that
if you want to appeal
knows.
his decision,
Hmm.
you could apply to the zoning board of appeals for a special permit
that
and
you're
bring
gonna
everything.
In October 6, 2016, you guys gave Linda Sealing Slap permission to have a horse on her property without having to apply for a
Any
special
of
permit.
this,
And I'm
without
proving to
producing
you,
any of this.
I'm proving
That's
to
a
this board.
totally different.
It's the same law.
Exactly the same
It's
law,
exact
and
same
nothing has
law.
changed since
All
then.
right, thank you.
What's changed since then, sir? Why do I need to apply for a special permit for this?
And she did not.
Are you discriminating against the Durgan's here?
No, not,
Are you
I'd
discriminating
have
against
to,
Durgan
I'd have to
Farm?
look at the file to see why we gave this, we allowed them to.
October 6,
October.
2016, check it out.
I'm not gonna take you, I'll look it
No,
up.
look into it, that's what we're
I'll look
asking
into
for.
it,
You
And
and,
when you come and apply for
John Glenn?
a special permit
Yeah.
to have chickens,
Well, we don't
for
need a special
agricultural
permit.
use.
And I'm asking that
need a
this
special
man not
permit,
be on
that's
my
what we're saying.
property unless there's a state police officer with him. Can you please make sure that happens? I do not want this man on my property without a
State
state
law
police
says we don't need
officer.
a special permit.
I'm afraid of this man. Yeah.
It says,
I-
it
if I
actually says it
remember
right in
correctly,
the law.
horse-
You are
the
not
horse
required to get a
issue was
special
with-
permit.
Because they,
I can only hear one person at a time.
Sorry.
Would you let Mr. Chairman speak
Sorry,
first,
sir.
please?
I believe,
Doesn't sound like that's happening.
I believe that the horse issue, that person on, I think it was Mason Road,
Mason Road,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think so.
yeah, if it was, if it's what I'm thinking of,
Yeah.
that issue there, the lady was, actually, it was a school, she was training people how to ride.
Right,
So they are exempt because they're a school, and that was the exemption.
right.
So,
It's not to
We
do with
make
agriculture.
$1,000 per acre for the products of our agriculture. That's
It's,
the law, sir.
a school falls under a different
category.
Category.
But I don't care about her, I'm talking about the law.
Well, just a minute, you just did say you care about it, now you don't.
She is part of that law. It's horticulture is hers, mine's agriculture. But it's the same law. It's the same law that
Same law that
applies.
she had used.
Well, you're welcome to bring all that to the meeting when you guys apply. Bring all that, and we'll be happy to look at it.
We'll just go to the state, thanks.
Have a good night.
Like I say, I don't want that man anywhere.
Okay.
Is that okay? It's on TV. You are not allowed near my property. I'm afraid of you. so please
Point
don't.
of order, Mr. Chairman.
Yep.
I have heard nothing that says I cannot go on her property. I plan to take, and I do plan to write, I have tickets, fine tickets, and I do plan to issue them, and I do plan to go with police officer at her property and issue the tickets. So I want that to known on TV, too.
I want a state police
I've heard no one say
officer.
that I can't go on her property. So
You're the
that's
zoning
why I
enforcement
stand right
officer.
now.
I'm afraid of him. I'm afraid for my kids. I'm afraid he's been harassing me with letters
He just said
for
he'll bring a
weeks.
police officer
I want a
along,
state
so-
police officer. I do not want a Dudley officer.
State police are not gonna get involved in a town.
Well,
Not a
if-
civil
You have
matter.
to.
by law, I can request a state police officer. You do know that, right?
But you're happy to call, you could call him and talk to the chief of police in Dudley and arrange
not.
that if you want. But they're not gonna come to Dudley over a chicken issue, I don't think.
So,
I would think
restraining order.
everyone here tonight, on this board and myself, are telling you, follow a process.
We
You seem to not want to follow it. You haven't
We
followed
have
it.
followed it, and you said we
You're
could
not
do this law.
listening
Then the
tonight
next
at
letter
all.
you tells us to do something, we produce it, then
Point
you
of
tell us
order,
again.
point of order. Would you let the man speak
I
one at a
am.
time? You're speaking, he's speaking, I believe that's your husband speaking. It's hard to break it down when you're a third party. Please, one at a time. Let's be civil here. Thank you.
That left a while ago.
I just want to repeat what was said by this board. If you disagree with my decision, appeal it to this board. If you think you deserve a special permit, go to ZBA, go to their clerk, get on their agenda and talk about it. You're doing a lot of talking, but you're not following any process at all, and you're saying the process doesn't work. Well, you gotta follow it to see if it works or not. So you're kind of talking ahead of yourself. Because you're saying all these things, but you're not listening to yourself.
I understand.
Follow the process. Everyone else has to, you have to.
We did. We have multiple
You
letters
haven't.
stating that we have.
Every letter you've addressed to us, we have addressed it back. and
We have
given you
followed the
exactly
process to a
everything
T,
you
and you
have
just
wanted.
And you're
Continue
both
to harass
talking,
him.
point of order. It's very difficult to make a decision when both people are talking. So from now on, you ask Mr. Chairman if you can speak. Everything goes through the chair. It's called Robert's Rules, please. Mr. Chairman is the chairman, and everything goes through Mr. Chairman. If you want to speak to him, you go through the chair.
You want me to read this? Or do you wanna wait till?
We have a letter from town council regarding your issue.
Town council being a lawyer, KP Law,
Right,
okay,
for the town.
okay. KP Law from,
Excuse me?
who's the letter from?
AP law.
KP Law, thank you.
Want to read that?
The whole thing? Or just this section?
Just that section.
Here in my opinion, the Durgans have failed to satisfy the requirements of either the zoning bylaw or the agricultural exemption of Section 3 as to allow them to have chickens on their property. First, raising chickens within the R30 district requires a special permit, which the Durgans do not have. They would be exempt from that requirement, however, if they met the criteria for an agricultural exemption under Section 3. The critical criterion for the agricultural exemption is that primary use of the land be for commercial agricultural purposes. In my opinion, the Durgans have provided no evidence that the primary use of their property is commercial agriculture. Rather, a residential nature of the property and minimal amount of agricultural sales suggest otherwise. Further, supporting a finding that the primary use of the property is not commercial agriculture, it is the primary documentation submitted by the Durgans is a check that appears to be from a family member for an entire amount of eggs that the Durgans claim to have sold in 2018. Such a transaction does not suggest that the Durgans are engaged in commercial enterprise. As the appeals court has noted, the agricultural exemption cannot be used as a pretext for unlawful, non-conforming uses. As such, in my opinion, the Durgan's chickens violate Section 2.03.02 of the zoning bylaw and do not qualify for an agricultural exemption. As such, they are in violation of the zoning bylaw, and the town may, in its discretion, order them to cease and desist raising the chickens without a special permit, and then initiate an enforcement action if the Durgans do not apply. Any further questions, please feel free to contact me.
I just got that.
When
Yeah,
were we
I-
gonna get that?
It's my first
We
time
just
seeing
got
that.
We got that tonight.
Mr. Chairman,
Right.
through you to Bill, when was that dated?
Thursday, February, I just don't want to give the wrong date, there's like
Okay.
multiple dates on here. Thursday, February
I received it
22nd,
22nd.
from KP Law to Town Administrator.
I'm sorry, but today's the 7th of March. We
We're a part-time
received that
board.
last
We're-
month. I was wondering why
We meet once a month, so.
but I just don't understand why we weren't given a copy of that.
You
this
wouldn't be
is-
getting a copy of
Wouldn't
that.
be given one, we would, no.
We wouldn't be given a copy of that.
We'd get,
What? I don't think we can.
no.
Wonderful. All right, so what's the zoning appeal process?
He wants to know the process.
Cost of a public,
No, the
The
appeal
process
process.
to appeal.
What do I got to talk to? Gloria?
Gloria. Right.
What
Not
is the
now,
same
though,
thing?
but-
Same thing as the permit, special permit thing? Got to get a butters list and all that?
Yep.
Okay, wonderful. All righty.
Just, Mr. Chairman, just for information, he started the process, what did you start, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and then you changed your mind and you walked out?
Started it in December, and then I found the law because I
Right.
watched these zoning board videos, and I found the law that was applying to me.
So you kind of know what you got to do.
So we actually withdrew our application, and the town said we could use this particular law. We have a letter for that, and that's why we have been going forward using this particular law.
Who told you that you could,
Mr. Burlingame sent us a letter saying as long as we provide proof that we made $1,000 per acre.
We have letters for all this.
Right, I agree, I wrote
Sent
that.
you an email about all this stuff, so.
I agree with that, but you haven't shown the proof. There gets to a point where time's passed enough, you either have to get rid of the chickens or you're gonna receive fines, and it's got to that point, just so you're aware, it got to that point. I want it on TV. I'm not a bad guy.
Yes, you are.
I've waited and waited and waited and waited.
You
Now you need to
scared
make a
us.
decision.
But you keep changing the end goal.
I'm not
That's the
changing
problem
any
we have
rules.
with it. You have, and we have numerous letters to point that out. We've also spoken to, what's this, Greg? So, Again, like I say, I don't want that man on my property without police officers or what. I'm literally
It's noted.
afraid of him. Please
noted.
note that.
It's
He has
noted.
been harassing me since October. I'm afraid of him.
Okay, next on the agenda?
We have minutes. Has everybody read the minutes that I sent?
Yep.
Okay. The minutes of the February 7th meeting.
Want to approve it as read, or
Yeah.
I need a motion, please?
Make a motion, we accept the minutes?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to accept the minutes from February 7th.
Was it February 7th?
Was it?
February 7th.
No, yeah, February 7th.
Okay, motion.
Being March 7th, it's confusing.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Bill, what you read, do I have a copy of that?
Yes, you
So
do.
I
Yeah.
can quote it in the minutes? And I put that in the minutes.
That portion, yes, not
Okay.
the whole thing.
Okay. Do you guys want me to do the Pettit paperwork before you leave so I can get all your signatures?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yep.
Mr. Chairman, just for information for the TV and people that live in that area and on the road, what I plan to do is I am gonna go down there. Anybody that has chickens, and this has been said to them before, they need to go to see you guys about a special permit. Whether they'll receive it or not, I don't know. And from there, we go forward, because everybody's gonna be treated the same on the road, and I'm not sure who has chickens and who don't, but I know there's a few families that have chickens, and they need to follow through, or everyone will get fined that has chickens there, and that's it in a nutshell. I want the TV to know it, because they need to
Fine.
know what the true story is, which you guys know, but they need to know too, so.
If you do visit the Durgans, I would make sure
Bring a
you bring a
police officer
Dudley
with
police
you.
officer.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. A few people down there would bring a police officer, that other lady that was here tonight, so.
Yep. All right. Motion to close?
Second. Look, you need the motion? Sorry.
I'll make a motion to close the meeting.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to close the hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Are you guys coming back to the office?